Good evening, folks. This is John Wilson, and today is the 17th of September, Wednesday, I think that is. And I'm going to cover a lot of ground in this upload tonight, folks. I want to go over what's occurred at the protest event in Sydney last Saturday and those matters arising. I need to cover a lot of ground on that and also just other matters such as cards. Okay, all of you out there should be receiving your membership cards. I've got mine here. They didn't have to post mine; they just had to leave it into the office. But look, folks, I'm hoping that I've cracked the card issue, and I'm hoping that it's now fixed. Okay, I'm sure there's going to be some cards return to sender. I'm sure there's going to be a few things like that. We will iron them out, but in the main, I'm hoping that our big post out and big push is now complete, and I'm hoping that everyone out there who wants a card gets one. Okay, all right, folks. Let's cover a bit of ground. The Sydney protest. All right, where do you start? Where do you start, mate? There's so much going on there. Look, let's start with the scaffold and the removal of the scaffold, okay? In the lead up to all of that, right, myself, on behalf of the Freedom Union, we lodged a notification with the New South Wales Police, as we're not required to do, but for the sake of working with police, we lodged it. It's not a permit. You don't get a permit. There's no such thing as this. What it is you lodge a notice of what you intend to do a week beforehand, right? And that's how it works. I mean, it's not, you don't get a written permit, and that's not how, all that sort of bureaucracy works. Now, we done all the right thing. We told them we were bringing, 3 trucks and barbecue and, things of that nature. And, prior to, like, I lodged it and prior to the event itself. Now, let me tell you why I did this, right? Let me tell you why I did this. The previous protest that was in Sydney, the organic one that just, ran, it was great from what I heard. It was a great event. I'm not taking anything away from it, mate, but on the ground, it was disorganized, okay? The normal things that go with these protests, barbecues and sausage sizzles and providing some toilets and water and those types of amenities and that were all missing. We're all missing. There was no stage, no sound, or any of this stuff, and it was all missing. Right, so that was the protest that was going on the 30th or 31st of August, okay? And, the one up in Brisbane that I went to, it was the same. It was very organic and it was a great protest. There was none of the gatekeepers. The gatekeepers were missing, right? Okay, and that's why these events ran pretty well, right? That's why they ran pretty well, and the why I enjoyed the one up in Brisbane, okay, at Roma Street, right? That was fine. So, now the Freedom Union has been down to these events before. Remember last year? Remember down at Speaker's Corner? Remember, there was a protest down there over free speech and so on down at Speaker's Corner, right? And the Freedom Union, and the bus, we took a busload of people down to join the protest. But when we got down there, we set up a modest, stage area, a little generator, some, sound system and so on. We got barbecues going. We got a pallet load of water in and so on. I mean, this is not our first attempt at this and what happened on the 13th of September last Saturday. I mean, I've been down to Sydney before doing this exact same thing. And guess what happened on the 13th? Exactly the same thing happened. I mean, on last year down at Speaker's Corner, I had exactly the same people ring the New South Wales Police and wanted me arrested for setting up and was screaming at us to take all of our equipment down and get going and all this sort of stuff. And I mean, go back and check the records, and I had to stand my ground and tell this commanding officer to piss off. We had every right to be there, every right. Well, down at Hyde Park, it was exactly the same. I mean, we attempted, right, to, you know, uh, participate, right, and the police were used to, threaten, arrest, and bash us, and took our gear and all the rest of it. Exactly the same. The police and these other groups that are mixed in with them, right? I don't quite know who they, but they were all talking down at Speaker's Corner last year. They were, Craig Kelly and all of that group, all of that mob. Okay. Now, I didn't see Craig Kelly last Saturday. I think he might have ducked out of this one. He did. He was a bit scared of Gomo John, I think. So he didn't want to take me on in public. But man, oh man, they had over 1,000 cops down there. You couldn't believe it. Now, the thing you need to understand, right, about what this is their cover story. Their cover story was that it was all about our safety, right? Our safety. Just like when they done the mass vaccination, it's all about our safety, right? First of all, they said there was going to be 100,000 Palestinian protesters down there, and we were in danger. And I said, well, why are we in danger? We've done nothing against the Palestinians. I mean, the Freedom Union supports the Palestinian efforts, and we are against war crimes. So, that's, I didn't get it, right? Now, the evidence is, anyway, I didn't even see the Palestinian front. I don't think there was one Palestinian person rock up on Saturday the 13th. There was none. Okay. So, the police lies that were coming out of this were, huge. I mean, you knew they were lying every time they moved their lips. First of all, we were in danger, and then all of our rights were then stripped because there was an emergency on. It was an emergency. Everyone was in danger, and we couldn't, bring in our barbecues and couldn't distribute water and couldn't have a sausage sizzle or bring a toilet in or anything. We couldn't even raise an umbrella. That's what these days. So you do it and we'll take it off you. And you'll have to go and get it back out of the police station and all the rest of this bullshit because there's an emergency on. We couldn't bring our trucks in. The trucks had to be parked outside, and they booked us $750 a truck for illegally parking. I mean, we notified them we were bringing them in. We couldn't bring them in because there was an emergency. That's what the police were saying. I mean, seriously, folks, seriously, man. It was theatre. It was very dangerous. They were provoking the volunteers of the Freedom Union who were trying to do, erection work and stuff. They were provoking them, hoping to get a reaction back, so they could arrest them. Provoked them. This is exactly the same thing that went on down at Speaker's Corner with Craig Kelly, Joel DeMille, and all the rest of these hillbillies, mate. These so-called freedom of speech activists. I couldn't believe it. In the week leading up to the event on the 13th, on multiple occasions, I made contact with the New South Wales Police trying to get the organisers of the Bridge March, the failed Bridge March, right? Okay, that we now know of, right? Okay, and get in contact with them and say, hey, look, we don't want any dramas, we don't want any clashes or anything. How can we try to work this together? Now, bear in mind at Speaker's Corner, when they pulled the same thing there, I offered them, I said, look, we'll use our sound system. We'll have two speakers and, that'll go for 10 minutes. And then you use your sound system. You have two speakers, etc. Because I didn't want the crowd and the people, the participants, right, to suffer. because there was some sort of, argument going on at the organisational level. So, I've had form with the police. The police know that the Freedom Union, when it's our turn, when we've got all the leverage, hey, we're cool. We try to offer and try to accommodate. But when it came to us, mate, they didn't want to talk to us at all. The organisers, whether it was Michael Sims or Mary Petticoat, I don't know, right, because when we first clashed, or, spoke to the police, they told us the applicant was Michael Sims and he'd lodged it on this particular day. Then they go back and say, oh, no, it wasn't Michael Sims, it was Mary Petticoat, and she lodged it 2 weeks ago. Who knows what's true, mate? Who knows in terms of the admin to this, right? But on the morning itself, 4:30 in the morning, we had our, because it's all pull up and then pull it down, right? One day we had a small team down at Hyde Park where the scaffold was unloaded, and then the cops wanted to interfere, right? And I went, hang on. And then Paul Pettit, who was down there, rang me, and I was staying close by, not far. And so I rolled straight out of bed and put the shoes on and went straight up there. And at 4 o'clock or 4:30 in the morning, the police said, this was at midnight. And then early the next morning, they came back, but with council, and they picked all of the stuff up and stole it. Now, that in itself is bad enough, but you should have heard the derogatory and the smears that these council workers loaded on Paul Pettit. I'm telling you, mate, these are nothing but, pumped up truckers, mate, working for the council, and probably, some sort of environmental officer badge on, and they were just sneering and smearing Paul. Jay, piss off, you fucking idiot. Go and get us a coffee. Do something useful, you old bastard. I'll tell you what, mate, they hate us. They hate us. And they loathe us. But they also fear us. So they've stolen our equipment. It's gone. And you've got to understand, ladies and gentlemen, look, the Freedom Union is not hiring stuff. We are buying. We're doing our best to buy stuff, okay? We don't want to hire. We want to have our own stage, our own trucks and our own speaker system, and that's what we are doing. We're buying it, okay? And so they come and stole our equipment, and that was the start of events. The next morning, I got up there again early, and the next morning, as the sun was coming up, we tried to have a whole lot of things just dropped off, and so we could start setting up. Right, we had barbecues, we had all of the eating material. We had 4 young people booked, and they were going to help get all the barbecues set up and get them all rolling. We had toilets to be delivered. We had pallet loads of water, and they just said no. Even the water. Okay, this was unbelievable. The Mary Petticoat or Michael Sims went dark, mate. Went dark the week before. Wouldn't refuse to speak to me at all. At all. The police asked whether or not they could share my contact details with them. I said, yes, get them to call me. Get them to call me. Not one word. Now, our role, you got to understand, and I approached this, we've been down before at Speaker's Corner. We've done sausage sizzles and water and provided sound and a little bodgy stage and stuff like that, right? Okay. So that was our intention on Saturday the 13th. We were going down to make sure that, people were fed, they had something cold to drink, and that, if they were a bit elderly or whatever and they needed the toilet, there was a couple of spare toilets and stuff like that around, and so on. But the New South Wales Police shut it down with overwhelming force. Overwhelming force, okay? And their narrative is we're in danger. We're in danger. We've got 100,000 Palestinians coming in, and you're in danger. So what for? I mean, we have no argument with the Palestinians. You're saying we're not in danger, right? We didn't believe, you know. And then it went on. Oh, there's another 20,000 coming for this one. The bridge walkers, right? The failed bridge walkers. You've got to understand, guys. When we were getting this organised, all I knew was that there was a group of protesters all focusing on a bridge walk. That's what they were doing. Nothing else, right? That's what. And I looked at it and said, listen, if we're going to participate here, if we're going to bring some, food and equipment and stuff like that to help and participate, then we better get an application in for Hyde Park, because, this other group, all they're concerned about is the bridge walk. They're not concerned about Hyde Park. They don't say anything about Hyde Park. And that's why I did what I did, okay? All for genuine reasons. Okay? So anyway, you can now see that within the Freedom Union, right? Oh, sorry, the Freedom Movement more broadly, you can now see that there is a faction that have full police protection. And we need to take note of this, folks, because these protests are collapsing. They're not growing, they're collapsing. Have a look at what happened in Brisbane with Tricky, and I've been arguing this. I mean, Brisbane has gone from marches of 60,000 people, right? 60,000 people began those marches when 5 years ago, thereabouts. They're now down to about 2,000 or 3,000. And even when they fronted up on the 13th of September, half of them walked off. I mean, I'm telling you, folks, the reason why the Freedom Union is buying this equipment, buying this truck, putting these stages and getting this stuff is that someone has to be ready to supply this stuff to these protests, because the ones that are doing it now, right, and they're always got their hands out for money. I mean, we didn't ask for anything, folks. It was the union that paid for this. It was the union. We haven't got any buckets running around, and nor will we. We just say that if you can't afford to put these events on, if you are out there begging money and all the rest of it, about time you get out, Tricky. About time you get out, okay? And a few of the others out there, about time you get out. And the Freedom Union is not going to be in any way intimidated into not participating, okay? No way. Now, let me just also say this for Sydney. I'll try and sort of wind it up a bit with Sydney. Look, I've written to our lawyers, Birchgrove Legal, and Birchgrove Legal, I've asked them to write to the Sydney City Council and retrieve our stolen gear and have the council deliver it, right? And I've also asked them to make application to the New South Wales Police to seize all body camera footage of all senior officers and how they interacted with the Freedom Union and the others. Okay, so we want the body cam footage. Okay. Now, Birchgrove have said, look, tomorrow, Thursday, they should be in a position to give me some response. So that I've written to them. I've asked for them to pursue this, and let's see if I can come. Or let's see if I can get it. Okay. All right, folks. Look, let's try to leave that for now, and just move on to a couple of other things that I think all interconnect. Okay. Again, just to confirm that all senior officers claimed an emergency, right? And that the normal laws did not apply. There was safety, mass safety, and we couldn't do anything, and we were denied every scrap of our rights for our own safety, okay? And body cam footage is needed to prove that, and we're going to make application. I'll bet you they won't give that. I'll bet you, but we're going to pursue it regardless. Ownership of equipment, again, folks, the Freedom Union is, we don't want to hire this stuff. We want to buy it, okay, and own it. Now, we own the trucks. You've seen the billboard trucks around now. We've now got scaffolding stage, and we are, buying barbecues and other equipment, okay? We want to be set up to provide fair dinkum support, fair dinkum logistical support in any and a lot of these protests coming forward, folks, all right? But let me just tell you this, why, and this is interesting. This is very interesting, folks, okay, because over the last 72 hours, 3 days, all right, this is what's happened, right? And the New South Wales Police, they haven't learnt that their tactics don't work in these circumstances. They haven't learnt that yet, okay? And if you have a look historically, Australians love the underdog and they support the underdog, okay? That's what happens in this country. And when you start beating up on using overwhelming force, like police force, over 1,000 police there, you get me, against mums and dads and, stuff like that, and denying them food and water and toilets and, stuff like that, right? That backfires, and it has now. I mean, listen to this, folks. Listen to this. This is interesting. After the event, when I was still down at Hyde Park, there was a coffee shop near St. James railway station entrance. Okay, there's a coffee shop and a little place there. I was interviewed by a great lady, a member of the union. Her name is Angie, and Angie has the Hidden in Plain Sight channel on Telegram. Okay, Angie's from the Gold Coast, and she came all the way down to bear witness to what went on last Saturday. And Angie asked me at the end, of our participation on the day, we'd called it off, and she wanted to do an interview. I said, sure, let's sit down at this coffee place and you get your cell phone out, and I'm happy to answer questions. And we did. Now, I done a 20-minute interview with Angie, and I basically forgot all about it. She came back to the Gold Coast. We separated. I came back up to Brisbane and caught trains and planes and all that sort of stuff, right? Well, she rang me last night, and she said, John, just to let you know that although you were denied access to speaking live to maybe 10 or 15,000 people at this process today, she said that interview that you did with me has had 112,000 views, a 20-minute interview. And she said to me, she said, hey, John, they're not restricting you, mate. They're actually promoting you. There's a lot of interest in what the police did that day and how the other sort of bridge protesters reacted and worked in with them and so on, right? And the denial of services. So that was the first interesting bit of news. But there was another upload on my channel, right, the John Wilson Freedom Union channel, right? Freedom Union member Sean Ambrose, and Sean's comes from the Maritime Union of Australia. That's his background, the same as me, my father and all that, and his father. He done a report, 5-minute upload or thereabouts, and done a report about what happened on that day and how the Freedom Union was, really badly treated, right, and threatened and all that. Well, that upload got 140,000 views and still climbing. There was another upload by the Simeon Boykov, no shirt. I mean, sorry, folks, I can't do that, but guys like Simeon can. And but he done his own upload in response to these allegations, and these are the first I've heard of any of this stuff, right? These allegations, these threat to kill allegations, right? They're very serious. I mean, you go to jail. You go to jail, mate, if you start threatening to kill people. And so these fake allegations being made against Simeon were answered by Simeon in that upload and with no shirt. And that had about 240,000 views. Can you see what's going on here, folks? People are turning their back on the fakers. They're turning their back on the fakers. They're not giving them any street cred at all. And I mean, just to follow up, so that you know, have a look at the Freedom Union's Telegram channel, my Telegram channel for the free. I mean, in the last 72 hours or so, it's gone up nearly about 10,000 people, 8 to 10,000 subscribers. Now, I don't know. I've been told that 1,000 of those are disaffected CFMEU members. So I'm watching all of this very closely, and in particular, trying to convert these new subscribers into new members. You understand, folks? This beat down by the cops and by the Freemasons, it hasn't worked. It's backfiring. It's backfiring big time. These fake allegations, threat to kill allegations, this stuff, it hasn't worked. It's not working. It's backfiring. I mean, you're not going to take down a man of Simeon Boykov's, stature with this phony, fake sort of allegation stuff. I don't know why they bother with it. So, folks, look, it's backfiring. That weekend, if you would have asked me on Saturday night, I would have been licking my wounds and said, okay, it didn't end well for us. But if you're now asking me Wednesday night, I'm telling you, we killed it. We killed it. We had to throw away thousands of sausages, rolls, food, all the stuff, tomato sauce and mustards, pallet loads of water. We had to throw all of that away. And as one of 9 children, 10 kids in my family, I mean, throwing food out, mate, woohoo. When there's so many hungry people out there, it's heartbreaking. Heartbreaking. I mean, we're working class people, mate. We're not rich and, bodgy. We're working class people. We know what it's like to go out and have to, break your body to earn a dollar to pay the bills. You know what that's like. So, folks, you can see this stuff. It is all out in the open now. You can see it. Okay. The freedom movement in its entirety has now got these factions that are inside of it, and they are meeting and talking and planning together to your excluding yous, right? Excluding yous, right? Excluding us. And they're fake. They're fakers. Not all, of course. Not all, but now you're the only guys that can fix this, people. You're the only guys. Okay? All I can do is present the evidence to you. You have to make some choices here. Now, the Freedom Union is now buying and setting up an entire, piece of infrastructure that we can mobilize and take anywhere in Australia and set up and provide stage, provide sound, provide barbecues, toilets, water. We're buying this stuff. And I intend to use it. Not have it sit in the shed. I intend to use it and provide it to people who want to mobilise in their communities. Okay? All right? We're here to help, folks. We're here to help. We can't do it without your membership. We can't do it without your membership. That's who pays for it. It's your members' money, mate. And I can tell you, our effort on the weekend, it costs, and membership pays for it. So please, everyone out there, if you think that we're a worthy adversary to these globalists, you think that we are genuine in our mission, support us. If you want to gift us, gift us. It all goes into what we do. You saw what we do, okay? We're frontline workers, If you want to, meet and greet anyone, myself or our team members in the Freedom Union, contact us and we'll make arrangements to do so, okay? Folks, a bit of history. I'm just letting you know, I mean, how badly these police, these courts, these cops and others are treating us. Up here in Queensland a long time ago, they used to do that to us up here. And I can tell you now, the people eventually are going to get very, very sick of this and they're going to react. They're going to react. It is going to happen, okay? If they keep pushing the public the way they are and treating them with absolute contempt. Have a look at what's going on in Indonesia. Have a look at what's going on in Nepal. Have a look at what's going on in London, Europe, even in the USA. It's coming to Australia, folks. It is. It is. And these big protests aren't going to be held back by these gatekeepers any longer. They're not. These big protests are going to roll out. And in amongst all of that, I think it's in your interest and Australia's interest to have a group of very experienced people who know what we're doing and experience with big protests and managing big crowds, okay, and working with big crowds, okay. I think it's in everyone's interest to have us in play, doing our job and doing our work, okay. And we need your support to do that. We need your support. I'm not a member of any political party, and I never will be. None of us are in the Freedom Union. We will never ask you to vote for us. We'll never ask you to stand for Parliament or any of the rest of it. We're a union, a proper, fair dinkum Australian union. And we've got a mission. And that mission is to provide some protections and some support for our union members. It's fucking hard to do when you don't have, hundreds of thousands of members in support. It's hard. We only have a modest membership base. If you want to help this union in its mission, join. Or if you feel so, gift us. And we'll use that money and put it to good work, okay? All right? My name's John Wilson, folks, and today is Wednesday night. It's the 17th of September. I really do hope that you're okay out there. You're hanging in there. I know that it's pretty tough in this dual reality that we are living through. It's unbelievably tough, okay? Taking a lot out of people. Stay strong. Hang in there, folks. Pray. Get close to God. He'll help. Take care. Good night, everyone, and God bless.